So I am Micayla D'Ambrosia. I am the creator and owner of Grown Cozy, and I make chunky yarn blankets, stuffed animals, all kinds of cozy items, and I'm from Billings, Montana. So I started Grown Cozy in the fall of 2021, and I had just had my daughter in 2020, and I was kind of just struggling with my postpartum anxiety and depression, and so I had just gotten diagnosed with it and was hanging out with a friend one day, and just randomly we saw chunky yarn blankets trending on TikTok, and we went and we got the yarn and we sat down for like a full day and busted out like a blanket, and I absolutely hated it. I was like, I'm never doing this again. This was the worst day ever. I was very frustrated with like the learning process, and but the blanket that I made, like, I thought it was cool, so I posted it on my social media, and was just very like proud of myself for even doing it. And I had so many of my friends and family wanting one, so I decided to make a couple more for my friends and family that wanted some, and then I just kept making more and more, and I got good at it, and I started falling in love with knitting, finger knitting, and then it really started helping like with my mental health, just like the reward of making the blanket, and just like the act of knitting just kind of kept my mind busy and kind of not so anxious, and so I started doing more and more. And so through that holiday season, I had this cute little side gig that turned into Grown Cozy, and it just really helped my mental health. And then in the spring of 2022, so I kind of after Christmas stopped making blankets because obviously the holiday season was over, like sales slowed down a lot, and I was like I said, this is a cute little side business. I was just making blankets for a while, it's fine. And then spring of 2022, I just like randomly came across this craft market on my Facebook. I don't know if I joined a Facebook group or how I came across it. I wish I remember, but it was 4 days out. I think I found it on a Monday and it was on a Saturday, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Let's see what it's like. So I remember I like busted out, I think 6 blankets in 4 days, and did that market, and I had one table that was like provided for me, no tablecloth, literally just a table with like blankets sat on top of the table. And it's kind of funny like looking back at it now, because my market display is extravagant and just extra, but yeah, so I did that market, and I just fell in love with like just talking to people and connecting with people and like showing off my products in person, because I'd only done it through social media. So like seeing people's reaction in person to my creations was just super fun. And then so I was like, that was cool, okay. And then I did my second market in June, so a couple months later, and I completely sold out of everything that I had brought, which was like a handful of blankets and some other things. And that was kind of like, holy cow, like this is so fun, so cool. Like, and again, I got to connect with people, I got to talk to my customers in person, which was something that I was kind of missing as a stay-at-home mom, was just like the social aspect of being able to like socialize with actual adults, so then I continued just doing like little markets throughout the summer and kept investing back into my market display. I got more tables, I got more products, things like that. I had my second baby that August, and then I did Harvest Fest in Billings, downtown Billings, which is a huge fall market, and I launched my pumpkins, which was like my first thing that I launched outside of blankets, and they were a huge hit at Harvest Fest. And I remember like I had my newborn strapped to my chest, and I was just having like the time of my life selling pumpkins, selling blankets, and I just loved it. But that was a huge turning point for Grown Cozy, like kind of stopped being a hobby at that point and turned into a business, because I got approached by a gal that worked at KTVQ and was featured in the news on their Montana Made segment. So I was like, that kind of like gave me the confidence boost that I needed. I was like, okay, this can actually be a business. Like, people love my products and I love doing this and it's really fun. So then like a month later, I launched my website, and 2023, I really started to expand more because I wanted more products that were different price ranges. So I launched these little stuffed animals that you see all around. And they have been a huge hit, and it's been so much fun making them and just kind of being creative and doing just new things. And so now I have, you know, products of different price ranges, which is nice at markets. And yeah, and then so that was 2023. 2024, this year has been crazy because it's been like, I can work my business year round now that it's not just blankets. And so one day I was talking to my husband, and I was like telling him all my aspirations for this next year. And he was like, you can't just like work out of that tiny room in our basement anymore if you're gonna keep like growing your business like this. And so he talked me into building what you see today in my she shed, which is, we have this gazebo in our backyard and we just enclosed it, and now I have a whole space for my business, which is so cool. Like every small business owner's dream to have their own little space that you get to design and everything. So yeah, I have like storage for all my stuff. I have content creation corner over here. I have a shipping corner over there when I ship products. It's crazy. But yeah, it's been like, I never would have thought that, like back in 2021 when I started just like making blankets and absolutely hated it and then fell in love with it, that it would come this far, that I would need like a whole space. But I think you know, what really inspires me now to keep going is the fact that I know that so many moms do go through postpartum anxiety and depression. There's so many feelings that come with postpartum that I just want them to know and like see me in my business and know that those feelings don't last forever, and that I will preach all day long that like, moms, you need something else outside of being a stay-at-home mom that really like drives you and fulfills you. And yeah, so that's why I kind of keep going. And then of course I love that my kids see me following my dreams, and they know they can do anything that they put their minds to. So yeah, some of the challenges that I have faced in growing my business over the years is number one, like when I was first like transforming my hobby into a business, I really struggled with how to price things, because you know, when it's a hobby, you can sell them for cheaper because you're not making a living off of it. But then when you turn it into a business, you're like, okay, you have to price it to where it's worth it for your customers and also for you, because you're taking time away from, well, I'm taking time away from my kids, away from my family, things like that. And so I really struggled with, you know, how to price things. Another thing that I struggled with in the very beginning was finding the right craft markets for my business, and for like, you know, I needed to find markets that had my kind of clientele. And so a way that I kind of got around that is really just trial and error. I did a lot of markets that I was like, okay, probably not going to do this one again. And then I did a lot that I absolutely loved, and I have been very loyal to those markets ever since. But a way that I did that too was just connecting with other business owners in the market. Sorry, can you hear my chickens outside? Okay, so one other big struggle that I dealt with, and I know that a lot of like other sole proprietors and small business owners deal with, is that, you know, everything is on you. I do the marketing, I create, I do the books, I do literally everything that is the small business. And so that's why I love, you know, getting on that call with Marguerite, because she really helped me with my bookkeeping and helping me kind of figure out a system to make everything so much easier and simpler than the way I was doing it, which was not easy and simple. And so we have a whole game plan, and we hopped on a call. I'm going to do some things. I have some homework to do, and then I'm going to go back and get on a call with her. She's going to help me figure it all out again, and then we'll just continue working. So I love that like all of your services are free. That is so cool to small business owners, because I need it. I need the help, all the help I can get, because it's all me. Everything is all me that I have to do. So that's a big struggle, but I also love it. It's a challenge sometimes, but yeah, just kind of like time management and, doing certain things at certain times. Like I try to sit down once a week and go through like my books, and I try to sit down every single night and build my inventory, and then I try to, I do content certain times of the day. So really just like time blocking and time management, which doesn't always happen on time because I have kids all the time. But yeah, I think that just hopefully finding a couple systems that will make like my bookkeeping easier and my inventory tracking easier is going to help a lot. I think some skills that I have as an entrepreneur, I would say number one is people skills, and I think that's why I thrive so much doing these in-person craft markets, is because I love connecting with people and hearing people's stories, and I genuinely care about people. I'm a people person, I'm a people pleaser, and so I love people. But I love that, like, especially at my craft markets and stuff, like my customers kind of become like my family, and they follow me to different markets around town, and I like, people that I've never met up until I did a craft market. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I saw you at this market, and they came to that market because they saw my posts on social media. So it's just super cool to make those friendships and make those connections with my customers, and I think that's a huge asset that I have. I think that a lot of people can knit, but I think like Grown Cozy is me, and I know that, my people are loyal to me because I love them. And then I think another thing is organization, especially when you're running a business solo. You have to just be really organized. And I also do a lot of marketing. So I don't know if that counts in there, but marketing, social media marketing. I market for all the craft markets that I do. I get people to those markets. I do a lot of, like I said, social media to get people to my website, things like that. But I think just having a background in social media has really been helpful. So the role that my community has played in making my business so successful, or as successful as it is right now, is I think the Billings community is really, really good about shopping local and supporting local. And especially when I do downtown Billings events, I receive so much support, whether it's compliments on my work, or purchasing something little or purchasing something big, or just coming and saying like, I've seen you at this other event and I wanted to come see you again. And I appreciate my community so much, because I really do. I feel like they support small businesses as much as they can. And then I love my small business group of friends. I do lots of collaborations with other small businesses. My friend Veronica with Veronica Candle Company, we do a lot of collaborations together, because who doesn't love like cozy, smelly things? So we did like a car diffuser with a yarn strap, so you tie it onto your car rear view mirror. And we've done other collaborations like that. I do a collaboration with Ruby's and the Fig Tree, and she does these little knit earrings. I don't know if you can see those, but it's so much fun to not only like have these friendships that also are small business owners, but to kind of mix your products together and work together as a team. And then that way, when people purchase these products from us, they're not only supporting me, but they're supporting another small business too. So two small businesses for the price of one. It's pretty cool. But and then yeah, there's so many of my other friends that I have that have small businesses that we just like bounce ideas off of, and we help each other be successful. Everybody wants each other to succeed. So we tell each other about different markets that we've seen and done and that we liked. And yeah, I love my community, not only of, customers and just the community itself, but the community of small business owners in Billings is incredible. Yeah, I think my journey to profitability with Grown Cozy has been quite a journey, especially because the yarn that I use is expensive. And so when I first started, I mainly just did custom orders. So I would have my customers pay me for at least half of their order up front, and then they could pay me the other half when the blanket was done. That way that one, the customer couldn't back out, and two, I could get the yarn that I needed to make their blanket. So I didn't really start with like a grant, or I didn't start by putting a bunch of things on my credit card. I just started with doing custom orders. And then once I started doing markets, you can't really do that. You have to have inventory on hand. But I didn't start doing markets till like 6+ months after I started. But when I did that, I think I just put everything on a credit card and just tracked everything. And I didn't have a lot of inventory then. But I think that's just how I did it when I started doing markets and had to have inventory on hand. And I keep track of everything because everything is a tax write-off. All the yarn that I buy, literally everything that I need for my business, which is nice. Yeah, I can think of one instance in particular, but I can think of a couple after that. But the first meaningful experience that I had with a customer was I was at a Laurel Farmers Market, and this was like it was probably like my third or fourth market that I had ever done, and it was the middle of July, and I was pregnant with my son who was due in August, so I was like very pregnant, and I was sitting there in the heat and just doing my thing, and this guy comes up and he's like, I really like that blanket. And we started chatting for a while, and then he ended up leaving. He didn't buy the blanket. And then right at the end of the market, he comes pulling up and zooming up in his pickup truck. And he was like, I came back for that blanket. And so he came back all the way, I don't know where he lived, but he came back to the farmer's market because he couldn't stop thinking about this pregnant woman sitting in the heat trying to sell blankets in 100-degree weather. And so that was really, really sweet. And I actually just ran into him this past, like a couple weeks ago. So it was 2 years ago when I did that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember you. And he was like, wow, you have a good memory. And I was like, no, like that meant a lot to me that you did that. That was like a really, like, I'll never forget that he came back just for that dang blanket. And he was like, I still love the blanket. And it was really sweet. But I also really love it when I love the busy markets, but there's some markets that are a little bit slower that I can actually like talk to people. And I love when people come up and they're like, I've been following you since the beginning of your journey and I love your stuff. And I'm like, this is like the support that I was talking about in Billings. Like people, they show up and they continue to show up, and it's just super sweet when I have somebody like follow me to all my markets, or they tell me they follow me on social media and they came because they saw my post about this event. And then it's just really, really special when people tell you that kind of stuff. It's like, wow, people are like, they do see, they are supporting, you know what I mean?